Defense strategy in trading. One summer evening, I sat in front of the screen not to analyze charts, but to rewatch the 2010 Champions League final. A match I had watched dozens of times, not because it had many goals, not because it was filled with flamboyant plays, but because it taught me a priceless trading lesson. That night, Mourinho's Inter Milan faced Bayern Munich, a fearsome attacking machine. Everyone thought Inter would collapse. But after 90 minutes, the victors were Inter, with just perfectly timed strikes to goals from Diego Milito and a defense like reinforced concrete. They didn't dominate possession, they didn't play beautifully, but they controlled the tempo, their emotions, and they knew exactly when to attack. As I turned off the match, a thought struck me: why is it in trading we always strive to score, but rarely learn how to defend? I used to be a trader obsessed with attacking. Every morning, opening the chart felt like the start of a new match. I dove into the market like a striker, always eager to score, always wanting quick wins and big profits. I never considered the risk of conceding goals. I never stopped to ask if the market was even favorable today. I just wanted to take trades. I just wanted to win. And then I lost not once, but many times. Not because I was a bad trader, but because I was too eager to score and forgot that before you can win, you must first learn how not to lose. Football taught me something: not everyone is born to play like Barcelona. Not every team has the strength to press like Manchester City. Some teams only survive by sitting deep, staying solid, and waiting for their moment. Inter Milan, Atletico Madrid, even Greece in 2004, they didn't play beautifully, but they survived, and sometimes they made history. In the world of trading, there are thousands of people trying to fight for every pip, constantly attacking. But they forget one simple truth: you can't win if your account is already blown. So this video isn't here to teach you a new setup, nor to show off some magic formula. It's to bring us back to the most fundamental principle of every match: defense, resilience, patience, and waiting for the right moment. We'll revisit defensive strategies in football, from Mourinho to Simeone, and compare them to how a small retail trader must think and act to survive in this brutal market. You don't need big wins, just don't lose. In football, not every team has expensive lineups. Not everyone has Messi, De Bruyne, or Modric to launch dazzling attacks. But the beauty of the game is that you can still survive and even win by defending correctly. Let's talk about Mourinho, a name that has become synonymous with defensive strategy. In 2010, he led Inter Milan into the Champions League final. Their opponent, Bayern Munich, a storm of offense at the time. Everyone thought Inter would be dominated. And yes, they were on possession, but Mourinho didn't need the ball. He needed space, and he shut down every bit of it. Inter sat deep with a 5-man defense. Every player knew their position. No one pushed too far. No one abandoned their post out of impulse. They waited, then struck twice with surgical counterattacks. Diego Milito scored both. Inter won 2-0. Not beautiful, but effective, and history remembers them. Think only strong teams win, not necessarily. Remember Greece at Euro 2004? A team no one believed in, no superstars, nothing flashy. But they organized like a brick wall. Every match was a life or death defensive battle. They beat France, eliminated the Czech Republic, and defeated Portugal in the final. Throughout the tournament, they scored only 7 goals but conceded just 1. See, properly organized defense isn't weakness. It's another form of strength, control, discipline, and the ability to withstand pressure. A strong defensive team has 3 things in common. 1. Structural discipline. They don't get stretched. They don't get dragged into the opponent's rhythm. Everyone holds their ground. When under pressure, they don't panic. When opportunity comes, they don't rush. In trading, this is like sticking to your plan. Don't enter trades just because of FOMO. Don't skip stop losses out of regret. Don't hold on to trades hoping they'll turn. 2. Perfect timing on the counterattack. Inter didn't shoot endlessly. Greece didn't surge forward recklessly. They waited, observed, and struck only when they saw vulnerability. Trading is the same. Defense doesn't mean never trading, it means waiting for setups where the odds are clearly in your favor. Like a small team waiting for their opponent to push too far, and then exploiting the open space. 3. Emotional control. Accept pressure, but don't break. You may not have the ball, but you control the space you allow your opponent to use. You might be pressed all half long, but if you don't panic, don't make mistakes your opponent won't score. In trading, there are days of volatility, breaking news, and massive volume. You don't need to act, you just need to stay calm and avoid being swept away. Simeone, coach of Atletico Madrid, once said something brilliant. We don't need 70% possession. We need 3 perfect seconds and the ball in the net. That's the philosophy for those without natural advantages, but who have patience, strategy, and timing. And if you're a retail trader, you don't have a team of analysts like the big funds. You don't have insider info, high-speed servers, or million-dollar tools. What you do have is time, discipline, and a growing understanding of market psychology. So why not choose the path of small teams, defend smart, strike at the right time? You may not profit every day, but if you don't lose, you'll still be here tomorrow. You may not score in the first half, but if you don't concede, you still have the second half. That's the art of defending in football. And it's the first lesson to remember before becoming a great trader. If you've listened this far, and the story resonates with you, don't forget to like this video so we can share more of this value together. And if you think someone you know needs to hear this, share it so they don't lose their way. Thank you so much. So, how do we defend in trading? How do we not lose before we even think about winning? When I reflect on my trading journey, I realize that most of my worst losses didn't come from the market, they came from me. From impatience, from lack of discipline, and from never building a proper defensive strategy for my account. Just like in football, without good defense, every team eventually loses. Trading is no different. If you don't know how to defend, you'll fall into a spiral of chaos. Now, let's dive into each defensive element in trading, just like how a great team seals every gap in front of their goal. 1. Capital protection, your last line of defense. Capital is your bloodline. A trader without capital is like a team without a goalkeeper. You could play well for 10 games, but one reckless decision could wipe out your account and it's game over. Defense in trading starts with tight risk management. Never risk more than 2% per trade. Never skip stop losses. Never widen stops out of hope. Never hold on to losses wishing for a turnaround. You may not get rich instantly, but you'll stay alive long enough to catch the big opportunities. 2. Systematic discipline, like a coordinated backline. A good defensive team doesn't rely on inspiration, they have structure. Everyone knows what to do when the opponent has the ball. Who tracks back, who covers, who sits deep. Everything clicks like clockwork. In trading, this is your trading plan. Be clear about when to enter, based on what signal, at which price zone, when to exit, where to place your stop loss, how many trades per week, and how to handle losing streaks. Your system is your defense. It keeps you from getting dragged into the market's chaos. Just like Inter Milan didn't chase the ball, but forced opponents into their trap. You must pull the market into your area of advantage. No signal, stay out. 3. Patience like a counter-attacking team waiting for mistakes. A good counter-attack isn't about speed, but about cold-blooded patience. They wait for the opponent's error misplaced pass, a lapse in positioning, and then strike. Trading is the same. Don't trade just because you haven't opened a position today. Learn to look at the chart and do nothing. Wait until the market gives you a clear, complete setup, then pull the trigger just once. 4th, know when to park the bus, the moment to stop trading. Have you ever experienced a losing streak? Each loss makes you want to win it back, and then you click the next trade without much analysis. That's how you spiral into revenge trading. In football, when the team is ahead and the opponent is too strong, a good coach calls for concrete defense. No more attacking, just pulling back and holding the line. In other words, protect the score. Trading needs the same. If you've just lost 3 or 4 trades in a row, stop. Close your platform. Go outside and walk. Keeping a clear mind is more important than chasing the next setup. 5th, know that winning small doesn't require a beautiful goal. Many traders make the mistake of only taking profit when it's a big one. But you can survive and grow steadily by locking in profits while the market is still in your favor. You don't need 3R every trade. Sometimes, just one consistent R per week puts you ahead of 90% of traders who are blowing up their accounts. Just like a football team doesn't need a highlight reel goal, they just need to win, even if the goal is ugly. Trading doesn't need to be flashy. It just needs to survive. I once heard an older trader say this: don't try to impress in trading. Don't try to win like Ronaldo. Live like an old man, wise enough not to die. I laughed at the time, but the more I saw blown up accounts, the more it made sense. Not because the system was bad, but because they had no defensive strategy. Trading isn't always about attacking. There are phases where you must pull back, observe, wait, and strike only when it truly matters, like Milito did in the 2010 Champions League final. Defense is an underrated skill in the trading world, but if you master it, you'll survive, and eventually, you'll win. I have a friend. I call him M out of affection, though he's nearly 30. We met at an offline trading meet. He sat silently, didn't speak, didn't ask anything, just listened. Only after the event did he message me privately: "Bro, I've blown 5 accounts already. The latest one only lasted 3 days." I wasn't surprised. Blowing up is common, but what puzzled me was how fast it happened. And then he told me his story, from $100 to $1,000, and then back to zero. A story we've all heard. He deposited $100 and had a few wins. Confidence surged. He stopped trading 0.5 lots and moved to 1, 2 lots, sometimes even all in. When the account hit its peak, he thought he'd leveled up. But the market doesn't let anyone stay in delusion for long. One strong news spike, one trade without a stop loss, one sleepless night, one spiral of revenge trading, and everything vanished in less than 4 to 8 hours. The thing he had never learned was defense. He said something that stuck with me. I only learned how to enter trades. He had studied all the candle patterns, MAMA, RSI, engulfing, Fibonacci, but never learned how not to trade. That's the deadly blind spot of most new traders. Everyone learns how to win, but no one teaches you how to survive. I asked him 3 questions and made him write down the answers. 1. If your account goes to 0 today, can you make a comeback? He said no. Okay. Then what do you need to do to make sure there's still money in your account tomorrow? He wrote, no all-in, no revenge trades, no holding losers. 3. If you only have $300 now and must survive 3 months, how would you trade? He said, like a weak team playing Real Madrid, park the bus. I laughed, but that answer was the beginning of his rebirth. He rebuilt his system like rebuilding a defensive line. I made him write a detailed plan. Risk per trade, no more than 1.5%. Fixed stop loss, no moving it. Don't trade unless there's a clear setup. Maximum 3 trades per week. If he loses 3 in a row, take 3 days off. Spend 30 minutes every day reviewing his trading journal. That first month, he barely broke even, maybe a small profit. But the incredible part was, he didn't blow up anymore. Slowly, things turned around. He started seeing the market differently. No longer rushing, no longer showing off. Like a team that used to attack recklessly, now learning to defend and strike only when the opponent made a mistake. After 2 months, his $300 account grew to over $400. Not much, but it was stable. More importantly, he felt confident, no more anxiety. Winning didn't need to be glamorous, it just needed not to lose. The last time I asked him, do you want to win big or last long? He said, last long first. Winning big can come later. Right now, I'm learning how to park the bus in front of my account. I couldn't say anything more, because that mindset is exactly what a small retail trader needs. We don't have the advantages of a fund. We don't have an analysis team like institutions. But we have one quiet power, the ability to choose not to trade, the ability to defend. And that's how a once reckless trader learned to become a silent warrior, building a wall against the storm, step by step returning from the ashes. If you've watched this far, I know you're not the type of trader looking to get rich quick. You're someone seeking depth. You understand the market isn't a place to plunder. It's a place to survive and evolve. Throughout this video, I didn't tell you how much I made. I didn't talk about any miracle strategy to double your account. I simply shared how not to die, how to defend, how to stay standing when everything tries to pull you under. Defense is not weakness, it's self-awareness. In football, Mourinho didn't park the bus because he was weak. He did it because he knew who he was up against, on which pitch, in what situation. Trading is the same. Defense doesn't mean you're afraid. It means you know how to choose your battles. You know when to stay out. You know how to protect what you have. You don't need to win every game. You just need to survive every season. Because the market is a league that lasts for years, there will be losses. There will be wins. There will be times to retreat, to endure, and to wait for your chance to strike. If you learn that you've already surpassed what 90% of traders never even realize, the mindset of defense. Thank you for making it to the very end of this video. I'm not a financial expert. I'm not better than anyone else. I'm just someone who's walked a few years ahead of you and made the same deadly mistakes you might be making now. I once believed I'd get rich quickly from trading. But the most valuable lesson I've learned is this: survive first, win later. And if this video helps you avoid just one all-in or stop yourself before holding a losing trade to long, then its purpose is fulfilled. The journey is long, but you don't have to walk it alone. If you saw yourself in my story, or in the story of my friend, feel free to leave a comment. I'll read it. I'll reply. Because I believe we are a community of traders who are serious, not chasing illusions, but building resilience. And if you want to continue, In the next video, I'll go even deeper, the battlefield map. How I plan my trading week like a coach preparing for a big match. From reading key price zones, setting psychological traps, to waiting 3 days just to take one precise entry. If this part was about defense, the next one is about counterattack. Never forget, a legendary trader is not the one who wins all the time. It's the one who never gets knocked out of the game. Protect your account, protect your mindset. And if you still believe in this journey, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for listening to the very end.